Phase 1 will last 6 weeks. It includes a full and complete ceasefire, withdrawal of Israeli forces from all the populated areas of Gaza, and the release of a number of hostages held by Hamas, including women.
President Biden today touting the role his administration played in helping secure a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. That deal not only pausing the fighting in the Gaza Strip, but allowing the release of dozens of hostages, including Americans. The cheering could be heard on the streets of Gaza following the news. Over the first 6 weeks of this ceasefire deal, 33 of the nearly 100 hostages are to be reunited with their loved ones, though it's unclear if all are still alive. The deal will also flood badly needed humanitarian aid into the region, ravaged, as you know, by 15 months of war. Joining us now live is NBC military analyst and retired four-star General Barry McCaffrey. General, thanks for being with us.
Good to be with you, Joyce.
Just a major breakthrough today, this deal to pause the fighting, release the hostages. Your reaction to it?
Well, it's good news. Hopefully Sunday the fighting will stop. It reflects the Biden administration's commitment to trying to achieve a peaceful outcome. Secretary of State Blinken and CIA Director Burns and Mr. Trump's envoy of the Middle East were all crucial to achieving what will hopefully lead to a period of ceasefire at a minimum. I don't think we should view this as the end of the war. Both these societies have been traumatized in an acute manner, both Israel by the mass murder, torture, rape, abduction of their citizens, and Gaza by the destruction of much of the infrastructure. And by the way, I think that trauma is going to deepen when the hostages are released and we start getting a fuller accounting on the abuse of these abductees, particularly the women who've been sexually assaulted, many of them tortured, some of them deliberately murdered just in the last few weeks. So a lot more to come. There is also zero evidence that any international organization or multinational peacekeeping organization will step forward to administer Gaza. The Israeli Defense Forces will never leave Gaza and leave it to Hamas to rearm, re-equip, and start the next round of fighting in 5 years. So it's good news, but it's limited.
And to your point, it sounds like a lot could go wrong. This all started with the horrors of October 7th. Israel's retaliation leading to the deaths of at least 46,000 people, according to the health ministry there. The humanitarian crisis, which is beyond. What happens now there?
Well, I think there'll be certainly a hunger for the fighting to stop on the part of both the Palestinians in Gaza, probably also to a lesser extent in the West Bank. We've got to remind ourselves why this actually happened. Diplomacy ratifies reality. And the reality is the Israeli Defense Forces have crushed Hamas, probably 15 to 20,000 or 30,000 fighters killed. They have crushed Hezbollah, destroyed their leadership, and they've intimidated Iran, who now feels alone. So I think that we ought to be grateful that the fighting and courage of the Israeli Defense Forces got us to this point. Now the question is, can either Israel or Palestine accept compromise? Who will administer all this? Who's going to make sure that Hamas doesn't take all the international aid, sell it to the people, and use it to rearm and re-equip? So we have to hear the mechanics of this to give it more reality.
I have just about a minute left, and I want to ask you about President Biden's farewell, which I know you just heard, and his warning to the nation about what he described as this oligarchy threatening our democracy and potentially unchecked power on the part of the president. What did you make of that?
Well, I think it was a very worthwhile statement by somebody who spent 50 years in American public life and leadership, and who is a person who respects the law, the Constitution, and the institutions of our government. And we're about to enter a period of some volatility, chaos, disrespect for the law. Trump legitimately won the election, and he controls the House and the Senate. And the Supreme Court may have given him a get-out-of-jail-free card. You can't be prosecuted and you leave office for official acts. So we ought to be concerned about the coming 4 years.
And paying attention. General Barry McCaffrey, always appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Good to be with you, Joyce.